You know the exact feeling. You are sitting in a dimly lit room, staring at the glowing screen of your phone. You watch the typing indicator bubble up, pulse with the promise of a reply, and then inexplicably vanish. The heavy, sinking sensation in your chest begins to take hold. You wait, you rationalize, and you tell yourself that they are just busy, that work has been overwhelming, that they are simply dealing with their own stress. But deep down, beneath the layers of excuses you have built for them, there is a quiet, persistent ache that whispers something entirely different. It is the painful, exhausting reality of modern romance, where we are more connected than ever by technology, yet somehow left starving for genuine emotional presence. You find yourself trapped in an endless cycle of overanalyzing every word, every silence, and every delayed response, becoming highly sensitive to the smallest fluctuations in their moods and actions. You are caught in an agonizing limbo of mixed signals, where one day you feel like the absolute center of their universe, and the next you feel like an unwanted afterthought. This hot and cold dynamic does something profound to your mind and your heart. When they finally do reach out, when they send that single affectionate message after days of silence or emotional distance, a massive rush of relief washes over you. Your brain is flooded with a powerful chemical high as the neurons of your dopamine system sustain your feelings of intense longing and reward. You cling to these fleeting moments of warmth, stringing them together in your imagination to build a grand narrative of a beautiful, passionate relationship. But you must understand that this is an illusion. We are wired by our very evolutionary nature to seek out secure bonds, to find a safe haven and an emotional anchor in another human being. When that essential bond feels threatened, an internal alarm system goes off in the fear center of our brain, overwhelming us with what can only be described as primal panic. We become desperate to fix the distance, pushing closer and hoping to bridge the gap through sheer willpower. Yet, the tragic irony of this dynamic is that we so often confuse this intense, gut-wrenching anxiety with passionate love. We mistake the dizzying roller coaster of uncertainty, the agonizing suspense, and the brief bursts of joy for true romance, believing that an activated attachment system is the exact same thing as a deep, abiding passion. The truth of the matter is far less romantic and far more grounded in human ego. Often, the person keeping you in this state of perpetual suspense does not love you the way you deserve to be loved. What they love is the way you love them. They crave the validation, the certainty that you are always there, waiting faithfully on their terms, eager to offer your warmth whenever they feel a sudden chill of loneliness or insecurity. They give you just enough affection to keep you tethered, a deliberate rationing of closeness that keeps you hungry but never fully fed. This is the psychological trap of wanting someone to choose you so badly that you lose yourself entirely in the process. You start modifying your own behavior, stifling your genuine needs, and walking on eggshells so that you do not accidentally scare them away or seem too demanding. You convince yourself that asking for basic emotional reliability is asking for too much, and you silence your own voice just to keep the peace. It is a devastating realization when you begin to suspect that you are merely an audience to their ego. When someone genuinely loves you, they do not leave you guessing about your place in their life. True emotional connection brings a profound sense of peace and a quiet confidence characterized by the feeling that still waters run deep. It is an exquisite everyday synchrony where two people consciously choose to turn toward each other in moments of need, offering small gestures of support rather than turning away and creating emotional walls. But when a person only wants your attention, they approach the connection like an emotional transaction. They withdraw into themselves when you are the one in need, only to reappear when they require a reflection of their own desirability. In these moments, you are being treated not as a cherished partner, but as a mirror. They are in love with the idea of wish fulfillment and with a reflected part of themselves, rather than engaging with you as a real, complex person with your own valid emotional landscape. The exhaustion you feel right now, the bone-deep weariness of constantly trying to interpret their actions and mold yourself to fit their erratic moods, is your own intuition screaming at you to wake up to this reality. Taking back control of your emotional life begins with a radical shift in your internal perspective. You must stop agonizing over why they are acting this way and start asking yourself why you are accepting it. You must recognize that you have been recruited into a dynamic where the unwritten rules are specifically designed to keep you permanently off balance. This struggle is not a reflection of your worthiness, and it is certainly not a measure of your ability to be deeply and truly loved. It is about understanding the fundamental differences between a person who possesses the emotional maturity to build a secure, lasting partnership and one who is merely passing time in your emotional orbit to soothe their own insecurities. By learning to distinguish between genuine, unconditional affection and ego-driven attention-seeking, you can begin to dismantle the illusion that has kept you stuck in this cycle of pain. We are going to explore the clear, undeniable differences between someone who truly loves you and someone who simply wants your attention, guiding you out of the emotional fog and toward the healthy, authentic relationship you are meant to experience. The first clear difference lies in the rhythm of their presence. When someone is driven by a selfish need for attention, their involvement in your life is entirely dictated by their own convenience. They operate on a schedule of emotional hunger, their hunger, never yours. You might notice that they only reach out when the distractions of their day have faded, perhaps late at night or on a quiet Sunday afternoon when they are suddenly forced to face their own momentary void of loneliness. In those pockets of empty time, they remember you. They send a message, they make a call, and they offer a sudden burst of warmth that makes you feel, if only for a fleeting moment, like you truly matter to them. But the second their ego is sufficiently fed, the moment they feel secure in the knowledge that you are still waiting on the hook and adoring them, they vanish. They suddenly become overwhelmingly busy. Their responses grow painfully short, their excuses pile up, and you are thrust back into the cold, waiting for their next whim. This is the hallmark of a person who uses you as an emotional pit stop rather than a destination. They do not view the connection as a shared shelter or a mutual safe haven where two people support each other through the unpredictable storms of life. Instead, you are merely a mirror. They hold up to admire their own desirability, and when they are done looking, they put you face down. Genuine love, on the other hand, is defined by a fierce and undeniable consistency. It is the steady, reliable presence of someone who actively builds their life alongside yours, taking your needs into account even when it is highly inconvenient for them. A person who truly loves you becomes an anchor. You do not have to wonder if they will answer the phone when you are in distress, because their care for you is not conditional upon their boredom or their need for an ego boost. This brings us to the second profound difference: the internal state of your own nervous system. When you are entangled with an attention seeker, your body and mind are constantly on high alert. You live in a perpetual state of emotional suspense, scanning their every word, analyzing their tone, and obsessing over the time it takes them to reply, desperately searching for clues about where you stand. You twist yourself into knots trying to craft the perfect, casual response that does not reveal how deeply you are aching for their validation. The tragic reality of modern dating is that we so often mistake this gut-wrenching anxiety for passionate love. We have been conditioned to associate racing hearts, breathless anticipation, and agonizing suspense with true romance. But that dizzying roller coaster is often just your own intuition recognizing a threat to your emotional safety. The attention seeker actually thrives on this dynamic. They intentionally keep the boundaries blurry and the future unspoken because your uncertainty is the very thing that guarantees your continued devotion. They ration their affection, offering just enough warmth to keep you hoping, but never enough to give you actual peace. Genuine love feels radically different. It does not demand that you earn your sense of security every single day. True love brings a profound, quiet calmness to your mind and body. It is the deep exhale at the end of a long, exhausting day. When someone genuinely loves you, they go out of their way to eliminate ambiguity. They do not want you to feel anxious because your pain genuinely hurts them. They communicate their intentions clearly, they make plans and follow through, and they offer a reliable emotional baseline that frees you to focus your energy on the rest of your life, rather than spending all your mental bandwidth trying to decode their mixed signals. The third clear difference emerges in how they handle your vulnerability and the inevitable moments of friction. In any close human connection, there will be missteps, hurt feelings, and misunderstandings. When you try to express your feelings to someone who merely wants your attention, they will almost always meet your vulnerability with defensiveness, hostility, or immediate withdrawal. If you gather the courage to tell them that their silence hurts you, or that you need more reliability, they will seamlessly twist the narrative. They will accuse you of being too demanding, too sensitive, or too dramatic. They will make you feel as though your basic human desire for closeness is a suffocating trap that is pushing them away. By shifting the blame, they successfully avoid taking any responsibility for their erratic behavior and protect their own autonomy at the expense of your sanity. They might even shut down completely, offering a stony, punishing silence that leaves you stranded in a desolate emotional wilderness, begging for a resolution that never comes. In stark contrast, someone who loves you embraces your vulnerability as a vital bridge to deeper intimacy. When you express a fear or an unmet need, they do not see it as a personal attack or a chain around their neck. They see it as a call for connection, and they lean in. They might not be perfect, and they might still make mistakes, but they deeply care about the emotional impact their actions have on you. They are willing to have uncomfortable conversations, to adjust their behavior, and to collaborate with you to mend the small tears in the fabric of your relationship. They do not view your need for them as a weakness to be exploited, but as a beautiful, natural part of two lives joining together in mutual care. The fourth clear difference is found in the fundamental impact the connection has on your daily energy reserves and your ability to engage with the rest of your life. When you are entangled with someone who merely wants your attention, the relationship silently transforms into an exhausting, full-time mental occupation. You might notice that along with this intense emotional fixation, you lose your ability to focus on daily tasks, your work, and your passions, becoming easily distracted as your mind wanders constantly back to them. You spend countless hours analyzing their actions, searching desperately for hidden meanings in their casual words, and trying to decode their erratic behavior. This perpetual state of chronic disquiet and tension leaves you emotionally starved and physically drained, keeping your nervous system trapped in a state of high alert. You find yourself pouring your vital life force into maintaining a fragile bond with someone who effortlessly absorbs your devotion while remaining entirely emotionally absent. Because you are never quite sure where you stand, you ride an agonizing emotional roller coaster, tragically mistaking the dizzying suspense and brief, intoxicating bursts of joy for passionate love. But true romance is not about living in a perpetual danger zone of uncertainty. In stark contrast, genuine love operates as an invisible, powerful launchpad for your life. There is a profound paradox deeply wired into human bonding. The more effectively dependent we are on a reliable, supportive partner, the more independent, daring, and confident we actually become. When a person truly loves you, they act as a secure base, allowing you to relax your guard and turn your attention outward to all the other beautiful aspects of life that make your existence meaningful. They provide quiet, behind-the-scenes support, enthusiastically encouraging your personal growth and cheering for your goals without ever trying to micromanage your life or undermine your confidence. Rather than draining your cup, their consistent emotional support measurably elevates your mood and actually makes you believe more strongly in your own abilities. With them, you experience the beautiful reality that true love brings profound peace of mind, feeling far less like a frantic, desperate chase and much more like still waters running deep. The fifth, and perhaps most agonizing difference, lies in the way the relationship forces you to view your own fundamental worth. A person driven by a selfish need for validation often protects their own autonomy by secretly keeping you feeling off balance and small. They might maintain their emotional distance by hyper-focusing on your perceived flaws, silently tallying up your minor imperfections to justify keeping you firmly at arm's length. When they inevitably pull away, offering only a punishing silence or complete emotional unavailability, it triggers a profound primal panic within you, leaving you feeling totally inadequate, abandoned, and rejected. Because you crave their affection so deeply, you begin to internalize their withdrawal, taking their coldness personally and convincing yourself that if you were just a little more attractive, a little more patient, or a little less needy, they would finally choose you. You are left waiting alone in the dark, questioning your own value and wondering if you are simply too difficult to love, blaming yourself entirely for the insurmountable distance between you. They might even casually mention past lovers, continually long for an ideal soulmate, or playfully flirt with others, intentionally introducing a toxic insecurity to keep you striving for their approval and fighting for a prize that is never truly awarded. Genuine love, however, acts as a beautiful clarifying mirror that reflects your absolute best self back to you. When someone truly loves you, they do not hold your vulnerabilities against you, nor do they make you feel as though your natural human desire for closeness is a suffocating demand. Instead, they embrace your authentic self completely, effortlessly, overlooking your human flaws because they are captivated by the totality of who you are. They do not ration their affection or leave you starving for basic affirmation. They actively go out of their way to make you feel admired, protected, and inherently valuable. In a healthy, loving bond, you never have to beg to be seen, because your partner naturally recognizes your worth and considers your emotional well-being to be their sacred responsibility. True love frees you from the exhausting, heartbreaking performance of trying to be perfect, replacing the agonizing fear of rejection with a quiet, abiding confidence. It teaches you that you do not have to earn the right to be cherished, building you up so profoundly that you begin to see yourself as deeply worthy of the exact same devotion you so freely give to others. Recognizing these profound differences is the ultimate turning point in your emotional journey. For so long, you have been told that love requires sacrifice, that relationships are supposed to be hard work, and that if you just give a little more of yourself, the other person will eventually realize your irreplaceable value. But constantly twisting yourself into knots to accommodate someone who routinely disregards your emotional health is not a noble sacrifice. It is a painful betrayal of your own heart. You must wake up to the reality that someone who treats your pain as an annoyance, who dismisses your needs as overly dramatic, and who makes you feel like an enemy in your own romantic life, is not offering you love. They are merely using your beautiful open heart as a mirror to admire their own reflection. By understanding that your exhaustion and self-doubt are the direct results of this toxic dynamic, you can finally stop blaming yourself. You can stop believing that your perfectly natural need for a secure, reliable connection is a fatal flaw that needs to be fixed or hidden away. This realization is incredibly liberating because it shifts the focus away from trying to win their elusive approval and places the power firmly back into your own hands. It gives you the clarity to see that their inability to love you fully is a statement about their own limitations, not a measure of your inherent worthiness. The path to breaking free from this painful dynamic begins with a radical acceptance of your own fundamental relationship needs. For so long, modern dating culture has conditioned us to feel guilty for desiring closeness, promoting a myth that the ideal relationship consists of two entirely self-sufficient people who never truly need each other. You may have been made to feel that your desire for reassurance is a sign of weakness, or that asking for a predictable, reliable bond makes you too demanding. But our biological reality tells a profoundly different story. We are inherently wired to form an intimate, physiological unit with a partner, and true independence actually stems from the knowledge that there is someone reliable standing firmly beside us. When you recognize that your desire for a secure emotional anchor is a perfectly natural human instinct, you can stop apologizing for wanting consistency and start demanding it. Walking away from someone who merely wants your attention requires you to look at their mixed signals, their chronic hesitation, and their dismissive behavior, not as romantic challenges to overcome, but as undeniable proof of their emotional limitations. You must consciously shift your internal dialogue from anxiously wondering if you are good enough for them, to rigorously asking yourself if they are actually capable of giving you the emotional safety you require. This is the precise moment you draw the line and take your power back. You choose to walk away from the agonizing emotional roller coaster because you finally understand that a perpetually anxious, vigilant nervous system is not experiencing passionate love. It is experiencing profound emotional starvation. Leaving a connection like this is undeniably painful, as severing any human bond, even a toxic one, triggers a primitive sense of distress and physical ache within our brains. In the aftermath of walking away, your mind may try to trick you, suddenly flooding you with positive memories of their fleeting warmth and making you desperately question your decision. During these moments of vulnerability, you must hold firm to your reality, relying on your support system and your own unwavering self-respect to navigate the temporary storm. You must continuously remind yourself that life in the inner circle of a healthy relationship means being treated with absolute dignity, where your well-being comes second to none and your emotional expression is met with empathy, not hostility. As you step out of the fog of this confusing dynamic, you reclaim your vital life energy and open yourself up to the beautiful reality of genuine love. You begin to operate from a place of profound abundance, recognizing that the world is filled with people who are fully capable of intimacy and who will embrace your vulnerability rather than run from it. You realize that you never have to perform, twist yourself into knots, or suppress your authentic voice just to keep someone's fleeting attention. By walking away from breadcrumbs, you set a new, unshakable standard for your life. You decide that you will only invest your heart in someone who communicates clearly, who follows through on their promises, and who steps forward to build a shared, secure life with you. You choose yourself first, knowing deeply in your soul that you are entirely worthy of a love that brings quiet confidence, unwavering support, and absolute peace of mind.